Hola clase, bienvenidos a la lección de los superlativos. Los superlativos están en la página 172 de sus libros para que puedan seguir con la lección si quieren. Muy bien. This is what we're going to talk about. If you remember the comparisons from last chapter, we talked about how we just said more than or less than. Well, this is the most. So it's very similar, just slightly different, and it shouldn't be too difficult. So when we say the most or the least or the whatever, we say the, and then you say more or less and whatever adjective you want. So the most handsome or the least handsome or the most beautiful or the most rich or the most poor or the most or least whatever. And then you always have to put a category. So like of the whole world or of all the people or of my whole family or so and so is the handsomest person in my family would be he is the most handsome of my whole family. So that's what you would say. And then so that's for just about everything. Más or menos, whatever adjective you want. The four that are different are the ones that are from the last chapter that were different as well. Mejor, peor, mayor o menor. Mejor y peor are best and worst. So the best or the worst. And then the oldest or the youngest. So you can say, for example, my brother is the oldest, el mayor de mi familia, of my family, or whatever like that. So these are some examples. In the first example, Antonio es el más alto de mis hermanos. So Antonio is the most tall of my brothers. So you just say the most tall or the tallest of my brothers. So in English we just put est on the end. In Spanish you just put más in front of the adjective. For example number 2, we can say that esta casa es la menos cara de todos. So you can say this house is the least expensive of all. And the adjectives still have to match what you're describing, right? So if you're saying expensive, you're talking about a house, it still has to be feminine. The least feminine of all of them. Oops. Oh my goodness. We're going everywhere. Okay. Mis tías Isabel y Ana, so my aunts, Isabel and Anna, are the oldest of my aunts. The oldest of my aunts. Just making sure that we're keeping it plural because we're talking about two people. Juan y Pablo son los mejores jugadores del equipo. So Juan and Pablo are the best players of the team. So, muy bien, I hope that explains that. Let's look at some examples. Superlatives. So these are just expressions of like the most, or the least, the worst, the best. And you have to just say whether or not you agree with the statement and change it if you don't agree with it. So like for example, Jennifer Lopez es la mujer más bella del mundo. So she is the most beautiful woman of the whole world. Yes or no? So if you don't think that Jennifer Lopez is the most beautiful person, then you can say Gwyneth Paltrow es la mujer más bella del mundo. Or your wife, or your girlfriend, or whoever is the most beautiful woman in the world. Or you could say that Jennifer Lopez is horribly ugly, and you could say that Jennifer Lopez is la mujer menos bella del mundo. So you could say that she's the least beautiful woman in the world, if you think that. So, And then we go through all of them just like that. So Alex Rodriguez es el mejor beisbolista hispano de la actualidad. So he is the best Hispanic baseball player of today. Actualidad just means nowadays. Juanes es el cantante colombiano más conocido del mundo. So he's the Colombian singer most well-known in the whole world. And so you could change it and you can say, no, Shakira is the most well-known. So just practice that. But if you change it to Shakira, then it would be Shakira es la cantante colombiana más conocida del mundo, because we're doing feminine then. So el hockey es el deporte más peligroso de todos. So hockey is the sport most dangerous of all. Estos son los mejores refrigeradores de la tienda. These are just statements. They're not necessarily, you're not going to be able to make your opinion on them. This would be some salesperson in a Sears or something telling you that this is the best refrigerator in the store. These are the best refrigerators. And you can say, the truth is that he is the worst player on the team. Or, las manzanas son las mejores frutas de todos. So you think that apples are the best fruit. So, muy bien. Now look at this one. Again, it's the same thing, only I don't have all of the parts in red highlighted. But do the same thing with just a little bit less help. So, ¿estás de acuerdo? That means, are you in agreement? So do you agree? El peor mes del año es enero. So the worst month of the year is January. La persona más influyente del mundo es el presidente de los Estados Unidos. So the person most influential of the whole world is the president of the United States. True or false? El problema más serio del mundo es la deforestación de las Amazonas. So the most serious problem in the world is the deforestation of the Amazon. True or false? Or estás de acuerdo? So they're all opinion questions, but when you say superlatives, you're always talking about opinion rather than fact, pretty much. Unless you're saying someone says the tallest, then obviously that's not necessarily an opinion, but el día festivo más divertido del año es la Nochevieja. So, do you believe that the día festivo, or the festival day, or the party day, most fun of the year is New Year's Eve? La mejor novela del mundo es Don Quijote de la Mancha. The best novel in the whole world is Don Quijote de la Mancha. El animal menos inteligente de todos es el perro. So the least intelligent animal of all is the dog. El descubrimiento científico más importante fue la aspirina. So the scientific discovery, the most important scientific discovery ever was aspirin. La ciudad más contaminada de los Estados Unidos es Los Ángeles. So the most contaminated city of the United States is Los Ángeles. True or false? Hi. El lugar más bonito del mundo es Alaska. So the most beautiful place in the world is Alaska. So now I want you to basically go through here, pause this video, and write down some sentences on your own about whether or not you agree with these, change them to make them true for you, or write your own. Muy bien, vamos a seguir más tarde. Adiós, clase.